Well, if you haven't guessed it by now, it's time for you to wake up. I'm the librarian, and I came to read. So by now, I'm sure that you all know that every other Monday, I do Patreon topic videos. I really want you guys to go over there, patreon.com/AdrianExpression. On select Tuesdays, you'll be able to vote on the topic that I'll be talking about in these Patreon topic videos. So please go over there, check it out, sign up so you can give me your input. So today I wanted to talk about something that I struggle with, and I will continue to struggle with it. That is procrastination. But recently, I kind of noticed something about myself and how I think, and so I was like, you know what, let me go ahead, put this as one of the topics, and so I can talk about it, we can discuss it, and maybe it will help someone else, because I literally just realized this about myself this year. So the question is, I'm sure you can tell from the title, is this procrastination that I'm feeling, or is it like self-doubt? And so I'll give you an example of the way that I think, and I know that this particular example I'm about to give is not like actual procrastination, but it gives you an insight into how like I think about myself sometimes and how I need to change it. So all my life, transition was something that is extremely scary to me, right? So when I was in elementary school, I was like, and it was time to go to middle school, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna make it. I've never been to middle school before. It's just so crazy. I can't do it. You know what I mean? So it was very self-defeating. I remember that. That's how traumatic that shit was to be like, I can't do it. And then I went to middle school, scared as hell, but then I did okay. I was like, okay, I'm passing the classes. I guess I can do it. When it's time for me to go to high school, the same exact thing, the same exact feelings came out. And I guess that's what I'm talking about, self-doubt. The same exact feelings, like, oh my gosh, I did middle school, I did elementary school. I don't know if it's high school is gonna be so scary. Like I've never been to this place before. I don't know if I can do all these classes. And like I said, I was about to go into this magnet school. It was extreme. I knew it was gonna be really hard work. It was, but like literally 99.9% of hard work, it ended up paying off. So I was scared, still scared, even though I went from elementary school to middle school fine. I don't know. It just came up again, those feelings again. And so I had to do it, girl. I went into high school. I was like, okay, like it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I can get the work done. But the same thing happened when it was time for me to go to undergrad. And it's like, by that point, I was like, okay, Adrian, like, there's something here that you are not doing correctly. There's some way that you're thinking about yourself that is not conducive to any type of progress. Of course, you're gonna still get the work done, but it's just like, why beat yourself up every time it's time for transition, But yet again, after undergrad, I went into grad school. That transition also scared the hell out of me, but I ended up getting all my goddamn degrees, So I say that to say that's the power of self-doubt can have you looking at certain things, and it's like, you've done it already. It's like, why was I scared to go from undergrad to grad school when I made all those transitions previously? And I was feeling that same sense of self-doubt, but I still survived. I went there, I did what I had to do, I still survived. So I had to ask myself while I was in grad school, I was like, this is not a healthy way of thinking. Like, why is it always you're not sure when you've done it before? You've proven to yourself over and over that you are capable of doing this shit, but still feelings of self-doubt rise up. So that's the self-doubt. I'm gonna talk about the procrastination part, and I'm gonna talk about how I had to really decipher between the two. Procrastination, like I said, I will always struggle with that. If you give me a deadline, I'm gonna get it done by the deadline, but I might be staying up. Of course there are certain things I would be like, girl, if it's a 20-page paper, I can't fool myself. Like, girl, you're gonna have to plan it out. But like I said previously, I was like, I know in a couple of videos I've said that it's so bad that I clear my schedule out for me to procrastinate. Like, I know that I will, so stop fooling myself and just clear that shit out and and get the shit done. But with certain things when it comes to procrastinating, and I had to ask my mama, and I was like, girl, what's going on? And the older that I got, the more we were able to connect on different levels, and I realized that she struggles with the same thing too. And then even my grandmother was telling me how she struggles with procrastination. So I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. It runs in the family. That's a good explanation for things. And really quick side note, I think that's why it's important for parents to be honest and be open and be vulnerable with your children about the ways that you think and the ways that you have been self-destructive, you know what I mean, or the bad habits that you have. Just be honest, be vulnerable, because it allows the child to put into perspective their own brain and the way that they think, and it helps them navigate that shit easier. But what I'm saying is, I realize that, of course, procrastination is a part of what I struggle with in my personality, but then I was like, why am I waiting so long to do certain, like, I really had to sit down when it came to certain things. I was like, why am I waiting so long to do it? Is it because is it bringing up those same type of feelings, like every time I made transitions between schoolings, you know, levels of schooling? Is it really that? And I sat down, and with certain things, that's definitely the case. Like, of course, procrastination is a part of it, but for me, it's this sense of self-doubt that lets me look at a page, an empty space, and just be like, oh my God, I can't do it. Like, I know I'm supposed to do this X, Y, and Z. I know I'm supposed to do this particular assignment, or I know I'm supposed to make this particular video, but it's just, you know, the task seems so daunting, you know? And then I will really have to step back and be like, look, you've been doing some things, you know what I mean? Like, you've been getting some things done, so why do you always have to be so hard on yourself when it comes to this shit? And that will prevent you from starting tasks, and that self-doubt it's like cancerous. You have to really identify when it's popping up in your head. At least for me, I have to, and it's a struggle. Like I said, all this shit is easier said than goddamn done. But like, I have to identify for myself, like, okay, when these feelings come up, you just gotta like, you know when you at the carnival and you gotta smash them puppets in the hole, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you gotta beat that shit down, because if you don't, it will just continue to fester. Like a lot of negative, like all negative energy in your life, if you just let that shit just do whatever it wants to do. And like I said, it's harder to do when you're in the moment. But when you see it coming, at least for me, I take that hammer, I say, okay, girl, no, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna get it done. You know, you look at yourself, research yourself, look at what you've done in the past, look at the amount of things that you've survived, and look at the type of things, look at the weight of the things that you've survived. And this particular task, it becomes a little bit smaller, it becomes a little bit more manageable in your eyes when you look into your past and see, oh, I've done this, I did this, I survived this, I've been through this, I wrote this, I was able to create this even when I didn't have much. You look back into what you've done, you look back into what you've experienced, so that the future doesn't seem as daunting. So yeah, that's what I noticed. With certain tasks, it would just be like, I wouldn't start it. Even if it's something that I've done before, and it's just something particularly like challenging, at least in what it looks challenging from the outside from not having started it yet. You know, certain tasks, I'm like, this isn't really, it doesn't feel like procrastination. It's not, because procrastination is where you know you can do something, you know you have the power and the tools and the skills to do something, you have the confidence in yourself to do it, but you're just like, oh girl, I could do it, you know, I could do it tomorrow. But for me, the difference between procrastination and self-doubt is you're not sure if you can do it, you're not sure if you can handle it, you're almost like shitting on yourself, like you're talking shit about yourself to yourself. Like, oh girl, you can't get that shit done, that shit is too much, it's too big of a task, it's too great. And I think that shit is more dangerous than procrastination. Like, that will have you eating away at your own self-esteem. Procrastination is just waiting. Self-doubt is telling you that you ain't worth it, you can't do it. And so I was like, you know what? That I have to work on that. I have to make sure to always remind myself of my worth, and make sure to always tell myself, like, look, if you've gone through X, Y, and Z, if you've done that already, it's gonna actually be less challenging. I just thought of this. It's gonna actually be less challenging for you to do the task that you're scared of right now, because you've done shit like this in the past before, so you know how it is, you know how it looks. So I found that sometimes it was just because I was scared. Like, I was scared of a task, that's why I wasn't doing it. It wasn't procrastination, it's because my ass was scared that I couldn't do it, you know? And once you realize that, and that's why I was so like ready to talk about it, just because I'm like, oh my God, I finally realized that shit about myself. And I hope that, you know, someone else, I hope that at least, even if it's one person who's watching this, can be like, oh shit, that's what I do too, you know, and like we can all work together in trying to change that shit, you know. And I'll end it by saying that once you push yourself mentally to be like, all right, girl, I understand what you're feeling right now, but this needs to be done, you got to do it. Once you push yourself mentally to just start, that's why I would tell myself, like, even with like certain papers that I have to write, I'd be like, Adrian, just sit down and just write the first sentence and see what happens. Like, it's not as scary as you think it's going to be. And it ends up never being as scary as I ever, you know what I mean? It never ends up being as scary as it looks before I started. Because once you get in the groove and once you write that first sentence, another thought pops up in your head. I'm just using writing as an example, but it's any task that is in front of you that seems scary. Once you write that first sentence or make that first stroke of the paintbrush if you're an artist, or once you take that first piano lesson if that's something that you want to do, once you do the first step, you realize, okay, well, if I did this, then I can do this. Or I wrote the first sentence, another thought pops in your head, like, okay, let me write that. And before you know it, you're done with the whole assignment. You're done with the whole task. You're done with the whole thing. And every single time that I freak out about something like that beforehand, every time I finish a task, I'm like, wow, I was doing all that freaking out, all that anxiety. But like I said, anxiety is also something I struggle with too. I was doing all that freaking out, all that beating on myself, mentally caging myself for nothing. Because I literally went in there, did the task, finished what I had to do, and it was over with. So I don't know, literally an epiphany happened this year. Because some of the things that I was delaying, like I said before, the tasks that I was delaying to do, that I was sitting on my ass, the way that I was waiting felt different. Like the procrastination is one thing, but like I said, but the self-doubt, it felt heavier than just like waiting to do something or just be like, oh girl, I'll handle that shit later. The self-doubt section of that felt much darker and heavier than just, oh, I'll do that shit next week when it's on the day that it's due, you know? So hopefully you got something from this. Like I said, the whole point of these videos, the whole point of these Patreon topic videos is just to add some real life discussion to what I do and what we're talking about, and to give like a different form of encouragement. And it's also therapeutic for me too. So I hope you all enjoy it. Make sure to stay tuned every other Monday for these types of videos, for these type of topic videos. Of course, like if I think of something, I will always make a video for it. But like every other Monday, you'll definitely get one of these type of videos. Like I said before in the beginning of this video, if you want to put your input, if you want to cast your vote on the types of topics that I'll be talking about, you can go ahead to patreon.com/AdrianSprecher, sign up. It's the highest tier that has access to these types of votes. But yeah, I'm excited to keep doing this. Like it feels like a release of bad energy, you know? But yeah, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Clear your mind of self-doubt so that we all can have a good goddamn evening.